Take one woman, 6 of her ex-boyfriends, an isolated tropical island, and a $250,000 prize pool. On this island, survival is a non-issue. With endless food and resources provided, the actual competition is purely social and economic. Ashley starts with an absolute monopoly on elimination power, sending one man home every 5 days. But at 30 days, the leverage flips. The last man standing gains a monopoly on the money, deciding whether to split or steal the entire $250,000. This design creates the trust paradox. The men must prove their future financial loyalty to someone they've already failed to maintain a relationship with in the past. This tension is driven by asymmetric information. Ashley knows her own criteria for trust, but the men can only guess at what actions will actually keep them safe. This lack of transparency forces the contestants into a state of constant calculation, trying to figure out how much performative affection is enough to survive without appearing manipulative. Within this rigid incentive structure, every load of firewood and every shared meal functions as a discrete economic transaction. Standard dating tactics fail immediately in this environment. Jake tries apathy and negging, calling Ashley too old and playing hard to get. Feigning high-value aloofness backfires here because it provides Ashley with no reason to keep him around. He is eliminated on day 5. Jake's refusal to participate in the social economy leaves him with zero leverage against a monopoly power. Mitchell takes the opposite route, using high romance to build deep emotional vulnerability and a genuine connection with Ashley. Despite their history and a clear spark, Ashley eliminates Mitchell on day 10. This matrix tracks romantic connection versus financial trustworthiness. In this game, deep emotional familiarity triggers a massive threat response. Ashley's logic is defensive. The more Mitchell understands her mind, the more power he has to manipulate her. He occupies the high-threat quadrant. In a high-stakes financial game, an intimate romantic history is a massive strategic liability. Danny tries to bypass the emotional component entirely by brute-forcing utility. He cooks the meals, he cleans the camp, and he builds infrastructure to become completely indispensable. When his social standing begins to slip, he uses immunity challenges to mechanically force his way into the next round, ignoring Ashley's preference. This reliance on labor fails to account for his personality. Disrespectful comments and a grating attitude quickly override the value of his physical work. The environment becomes so strained that Ashley eventually isolates herself from the camp entirely to escape him. Danny is trying to solve the highly subjective problem of trust with a purely mechanical solution of labor. Utility without likability only creates resentment, and no amount of work fixes a broken social game. Around day 20, the island meta shifts. The surviving men stop relying on grand gestures or forced labor. New tactics take over. Derek stays quiet and observes the room, while Gary acts as a low-drama, consistent baseline. These behaviors are examples of credible signaling, actions that communicate future intent through consistent, low-risk behavior. Winning here requires proving you are a reliable, rational partner for a future transaction, rather than trying to fix the mistakes of a past relationship. The safest economic bet is the one who survives to the end. Massive financial incentives fundamentally warp the way humans interact in a social setting. Affection becomes a currency, labor becomes a negotiation tool, and trust is reduced to a cold assessment of risk. The monetized, unresolved history of a past relationship is ultimately a far more volatile landscape than any remote island.